A tunnel beneath Jerusalem. 1982. A man breaks through the final layer of stone and sees it, the Ark of the Covenant, untouched for over 2,000 years. But on top of the golden lid, there's something that shouldn't be there. Dried blood. He collects a sample, takes it to a lab. The results come back impossible. 24 chromosomes, one parent, no human father. And when he returns to take photographs, 4 angels block the entrance. This is what happened when the Ark of the Covenant was opened. The Ark isn't just another ancient relic. According to the Bible, this was the actual dwelling place of God on earth, not symbolic. Literal. The presence of divine power contained in a box covered in pure gold. This object was so dangerous that touching it meant instant death. When priests moved it, they used wooden poles threaded through golden rings. No human hand could make direct contact. Why? Because of what it contained. Inside sat 3 objects: stone tablets written by God's own finger, a golden pot filled with bread that fell from heaven, and a wooden rod that bloomed flowers overnight from dead wood. Each item held power, each told a story, but together, they formed something most people miss. These weren't just symbols of God's strength. They were reminders of complete failure. The people broke the law, complained about the food, rebelled against the priesthood. Every object inside represented sin and disobedience. So why would God seal evidence of rebellion inside his most sacred object? Because of what covered them. And understanding that covering is the key to understanding what was found on it 2,000 years later. The stone tablets weren't carved by human hands. Exodus says God himself wrote the 10 Commandments with his finger on Mount Sinai. These represented the perfect standard, a law so complete that breaking one commandment meant breaking them all. Humanity failed immediately. The golden pot held manna. For 40 years in the desert, this bread appeared on the ground every morning like frost. It kept an entire nation alive when there was nothing to eat. Proof that God provides even in impossible circumstances. But the people hated it. They complained. They wanted the food they had as slaves in Egypt. Aaron's rod did something that defies nature. This dead piece of wood sprouted flowers and ripe almonds overnight. Not over weeks, in hours. It proved Aaron was chosen by God as high priest. Yet the people rejected his authority and rebelled. 3 objects: the law, the provision, the priesthood, all broken, all rejected, all representing human failure. God commanded Moses to seal these items inside the ark, not to celebrate them, to cover them. On top sat a lid of solid gold. 2 angels faced each other with wings spread. And once a year, something happened on that lid that changed everything. The golden lid had a name: the mercy seat. In Hebrew, it means the covering. Once a year, on the Day of Atonement, the high priest entered the most holy place, alone. If he went on the wrong day, he died. If he entered without blood, he died. Some say they tied a rope to his ankle in case they needed to drag his body out. He carried blood from sacrificed animals, a goat, a bull, and he sprinkled it on the mercy seat 7 times. When God looked down at the ark, he didn't see the broken law underneath. He didn't see the rebellion. He saw the blood. Judgment was satisfied. The people lived another year. But there was a problem. This ritual had to be repeated every single year. The blood of animals could cover sin temporarily, but never erase it. New high priests replaced the old ones when they died. More animals, more blood, more sacrifice. It was never finished. Until it was. The ark disappeared around 586 BC when Babylon destroyed Jerusalem. After that, no text ever mentions it again. But here's the strange part. The Babylonians recorded everything they took: gold vessels, silver instruments, temple treasures, all documented. The ark? Not mentioned once. Someone hid it. Jewish tradition says the prophet Jeremiah sealed it in a secret location just before the invasion. But what if that location wasn't random? What if it was chosen for a reason that wouldn't be understood for 600 more years? Ron Wyatt was a nurse from Tennessee, not an archaeologist, not a scholar, just a man obsessed with biblical history. In January 1979, he was walking near the Damascus Gate in Jerusalem. There's a rocky cliff there called Golgotha. Some believe it's where Jesus was crucified. As Wyatt stood there, his hand suddenly pointed at a spot in the cliff, and words came out of his mouth that he didn't plan to say. That's Jeremiah's grotto. The Ark of the Covenant is in there. An Israeli archaeologist standing nearby got excited and gave him permission to dig. Immediately. No formal process. Almost like it was meant to happen. Wyatt started excavating. For months, he removed dirt and rocks. Then he found it. A tunnel carved into bedrock. He crawled deeper. The tunnel opened into a chamber. Inside sat a stone case covered with flat stones. He removed them one by one. A golden box. 2 golden angels on top. Wings spread toward each other. Exactly as described in Exodus. The Ark of the Covenant. But something was on the cracked mercy seat. A dark, dried substance. It had dripped through a crack in the ceiling above. Blood. Wyatt took a sample to a lab in Israel. He didn't tell them where it came from. The results came back strange. Human blood, but still alive. White blood cells moving under the microscope after nearly 2,000 years, and only 24 chromosomes, 23 from a mother, 1 Y chromosome, no human father. The lab technician asked whose blood it was. When he realized what it meant, he fell to his knees. But Wyatt never provided documentation, no photos, no proof, because something stopped him. Wyatt returned with cameras, video equipment, recording devices. He wanted proof. Nothing worked. Batteries died instantly. Film came out blank. Every piece of technology failed in that chamber. Then, he saw them. 4 angels, standing around the ark, solid, real, not transparent or glowing. As physical as any human. One spoke. The message was clear. The Ark would not be revealed to the world yet, not until a universal Sunday law was enforced globally, a religious law that forces worship on a day God never commanded. Until that moment, no proof could leave the chamber. Wyatt went public in the 1980s with just his story, no documentation, no evidence. Archaeologists called him a fraud. Scholars dismissed him, even Christians doubted, but he never sold books for profit, never charged speaking fees, never asked for money. He just told his story. So, was he telling the truth? Or was this elaborate fiction? He's not the only one claiming to have found it. Thousands of miles away, in Axum, Ethiopia, a small chapel sits under constant guard. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church claims the Ark has been inside for over 2,500 years. Their story says Menelik I, son of King Solomon, and the Queen of Sheba, secretly took the Ark from Jerusalem and replaced it with a replica. Solomon discovered the switch, but believed it was God's will. One monk guards it, called the Guardian. He's chosen for life. Once he accepts the role, he never leaves the chapel grounds. Not for family, not for emergencies, never. No one else can see inside, not church leaders, not government officials. Without verification, it's just a claim. But there's another clue. In 1952, archaeologists found the copper scroll among the Dead Sea Scrolls. Unlike religious texts, this was a treasure map. It lists 64 locations where temple objects were hidden before Babylon invaded. One entry describes a sealed chamber beneath the Temple Mount, sacred vessels too holy to name directly. Could the Ark be there? Possibly. But excavation under the Al-Aqsa Mosque is forbidden. Any attempt would trigger international crisis. The evidence is locked beneath the most contested ground on Earth. So, where is it really? And does it even matter anymore? Some Jewish scholars believe the Ark will reappear when the Third Temple is built in Jerusalem. Right now, groups are preparing for that day. They've recreated priestly garments, trained priests from the tribe of Levi, crafted sacred instruments for temple service. Everything is ready except the location. The dome of the rock sits exactly where the temple should be built. Moving it would start a war, yet prophecy says it will happen, and many believe when that temple rises, the ark will be placed inside. But what if the ark's purpose already ended? Because something happened 2,000 years ago that changed everything. The moment Jesus died, something impossible happened in the temple. The massive curtain separating the Holy of Holies tore in two, top to bottom. This wasn't decorative fabric. According to Jewish historians, it was 60 feet tall, 30 feet wide, and 4 inches thick, so heavy it took 300 priests to hang it. Woven so tightly that horses tied to each side couldn't rip it apart. It tore by itself, from the top down, not the way a human would tear it, the way God would. Why? Because the barrier was no longer needed. The system was finished. The stone tablets inside the ark demanded perfection. Jesus lived without breaking a single commandment. He became the righteousness the law required, but humans could never achieve. The manna represented provision in the wilderness. Jesus called himself the bread of life. He said anyone who comes to him will never hunger, not for 40 years, forever. Aaron's rod represented the priesthood, but Aaron died. Every high priest after him died too. Hebrews 7 says Jesus holds his priesthood permanently because he lives forever, no replacement needed. And the mercy seat? The place where blood was sprinkled once a year? Jesus became it. Hebrews 9:12 says, he entered the most holy place once for all, not with animal blood, with his own, securing eternal redemption, one sacrifice, one time, forever. So, if Wyatt's claim could be verified, if scientists tested that blood again with modern equipment and witnesses, 24 chromosomes would be more than belief. It would be proof, physical evidence of a virgin birth, proof that Jesus wasn't just a teacher, proof of divinity, in DNA. But opening the ark without authority has consequences. When Uzzah touched it to steady it, he died instantly. When the Philistines captured it, plagues broke out and their god's statue shattered. When the men of Beth Shemesh looked inside, 70 died on the spot. Holiness destroys what's impure. So, what happens if it's open today? Depends on who opens it and why. But here's something most people miss. Revelation 11:19 describes a vision of heaven. The temple of God opens, and inside, John sees the Ark of the Covenant. Not on earth, in heaven. The earthly one was always just a copy. The real one never left God's presence. But that doesn't mean the copy won't reappear. So the ark is either buried beneath Jerusalem with Christ's blood on it, locked in an Ethiopian chapel, hidden in a tunnel, mapped by the copper scroll, or waiting in heaven. If Wyatt told the truth, the greatest proof of Jesus' divinity is sitting in a chamber right now. DNA evidence that would force every scientist and skeptic to explain the impossible. Blood, with one parent. The angel said it would be revealed when a global religious law is enforced, a Sunday law. Some believe that time is approaching. When it happens, the whole world will watch the tests, live, documented, verified. But whether the physical ark surfaces or not, its purpose already finished. Access to God is open. The veil tore. The sacrifice was made. Yet if the ark is found, it would prove every detail of the biblical account was true, down to the blood that fell through the crack. The excavation at the original storage site begins next month. Permits are finalized. What they uncover could rewrite everything, or prove we've been looking in the wrong place all along.